say Stanley? Oh.
Bien, por favor, si nos sentamos, vamos a empezar la rueda de prensa. Gracias.
I'd like to thank all my
Por favor,
relatives in
vamos
the
a
front
empezar.
row.
Nos
All my
sentamos.
relatives who came from all over the world.
No, noi subito, non capiamo un cazzo, noi subito, che c'è?
Hey,
Ma se non ci traduce che è Riccardo.
Don't worry, it's actually a technical issue. Tell me, dimmi.
hey, how are you doing?
Abbiamo visto.
Hanno odiato.
A ver, sí, por favor, vamos a comenzar. Arratsalde on, buenas tardes, bienvenidos y bienvenidas a la rueda de prensa de la película Modi, 3 Days on the Wing of Madness, película que se proyectará, se presentará en la sección oficial de este festival, fuera de concurso. Y bueno, para hablarnos de la película tenemos aquí a una parte de su equipo. Los presento, empezando por la izquierda, los productores Barry Navidi y Stephen Malit, los intérpretes Bruno GOUERY y LUISA RAINERI, RICCARDO SCARMARCIO, el director Johnny Depp, los intérpretes ANTONIA DESPLAT y Ryan McParland y el productor Stephen DEUTERS. Bueno, ya veo muchas manos levantadas, pero antes que nada quizá Johnny Depp nos podría explicar un poquito por qué se pasa tras las cámaras con una película sobre Modigliani, qué es lo que le atrae de este personaje.
Well, what interested me initially about the idea of making the film was, you know, a very strange phone call from Al Pacino saying, "Hey, you remember that Modigliani thing I was going to do years ago? I think you should direct it." I'm like, what? What do you mean? So the fact that for some reason Al saw me somehow driving this strange machine. I mean, when Pacino speaks, you must listen. And so I ran with it, but really had no great idea what it was going to be ultimately until the pieces of the puzzle came together. That is to say, when you know who your Modi is, when you know who your Beatrice is, and Soutine, and Utrillo, and Rosalie. I mean, when you know who these characters are, for me, it made it a real sort of different experience than I had when I directed a film many years ago, The Brave. First, I didn't have to be in it, which was much more fun. But I got to sort of, more than anything, do what I think is correct with regard to filmmaking. Allow the actors to explore, and by allowing the actors to explore, you then learn things, and so then the actors are telling the scene what it wants to be, and then after that, the scene starts telling the sequence what it wants to be, and then ultimately the film is telling you what it wants to be. So it was a very different experience being just behind the camera as opposed to having to fight some sort of, you know, directing and acting at the same time, which is horrific. Or it was for me.
Hola, Johnny. Buenas tardes. Hola. Hola, me levanto. Hola, Johnny. ¿Cómo estás? quería preguntarte, estamos hablando de un artista del siglo pasado, pero creo que la película es muy actual en muchas reflexiones que vuelcas. El Johnny Depp rico y famoso que conocemos ahora ha pasado por penurias como las que refleja la película del artista que no tiene ni para comer muchas veces. ¿Nos cuentas un poco cómo empezaste?
Thank you. That's yeah. No, you see a lot in the film. Thank you. My beginning was an accident. That is not to say that my parents made an accident. That's just, I mean, maybe they did. I never really had the conversation. However, my beginning in movies, acting, whatever, was by accident, and it was a moment where, yeah, there's an expression, it's called when the rubber meets the road. You know, when the tires are on the road and you take off and you split, you drive. There's something beautiful to me about those days living in a tiny studio apartment just off Hollywood Boulevard in a dangerous neighborhood. Those days are, it's like reading Movable Feast by Hemingway, you know, they're romantic days. They were tough, they were rough, they were ugly, they were weird, it was all kinds of stuff, but they were beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, to capture someone who's in the midst of earning their stripes in life, as it were, you know, and to be a witness, to bear witness to 3 days in this particular artists and these people's lives. And each has their story, because sure, we can say that I've been through a number of things here and there, but you know, I'm all right. And I think we've all been through a number of things ultimately. Maybe yours didn't turn into a soap opera. I mean, televised, in fact, and all that. But we all experience and go through what we go through, and those things that we are able to live and remember and use, these are your stripes, you never forget them. So to see these people all on the teetering on the verge of earning their stripes and desperate to speak but unable to, in a way, you know. But it only works for me, it only worked for me because this cast was able to deliver something that you can, I mean, one shouldn't have expectations at all on it in any sense, but man, to be able to watch these actors out there feeling free enough to try anything and take the story further was, for me, I realized my job was not a director at all. I was merely there to capture, you know. I was just there to snap that instant, you know. What happens next? Sorry.
Sí, tenemos ahí al lado de la cámara, atrás. Primero, sí, luego te damos turno a ti. Teníamos ahí una petición. Primero ahí. Sí, más atrás. Ahí, gracias. Luego.
Hi, Johnny. Question here from Brazil, Rodrigo Fonseca, Correio da Manhã. Congratulations by the amazing film. I have two questions for you. First one, how to look at Modigliani's art after a movie like that? I think for us, it won't be the same experience, but I'd like to hear from you. And the second question, the funny sequence of the escape in the beginning of the film and some other black and white shootings made me think a lot about Chaplin and his influence. I would like to hear you about Chaplin and if it probably was an influence to the film. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. So, it was what did I think about
How to look at Modigliani after the film?
after the film? Well, amazingly, I mean, for an artist that I've been well aware of and kind of greatly fascinated with for a number of years, like a lot of years, I learned so much more even after having read about Modigliani and his life, and a lot of these artists as well in the past. But I learned, I suppose I learned a lot more about Modigliani and the refusal, the absolute refusal to compromise his vision for anything. And as I mean, we certainly deal with that in the film, but he was not. I mean, it was a time when everyone was, because Cubism happened in 1907, and then all this, you know, Duchamp with the new Descending the Staircase, which basically represents cinema. But Modi he just never budged. And the idea of the silent cinema moments it was kind of like, you know, when you think about, well, yeah, Vincent van Gogh, Monet, all the Impressionists. It was a moment that came out of essentially like the birth of photography, right? So in a way, as the early 20th century was the birth of cinema, and sometimes we all have to see our lives as some kind of strange cinema, you know. So, yeah, it was a salute, but also a kind of, because it was so new, cinema, it affected painting just as photography did. So that was the addition of that. And the rest I just stood around and watched, basically.
Sí, tenemos ahí, señorita, aquí delante, sí. Gracias.
Enhorabuena por la película. Quisiera preguntar a los actores aquí presentes cómo ha sido vuestra participación en el proceso creativo del que hablaba el director y también si el director es especialmente maniático o meticuloso con algún aspecto. Gracias.
You've been reading my mail. Or we're related. Well, yeah, I'm afraid I can't answer that question. There's nothing I can say here.
No, but for me, it's been, of course, like an incredible journey to do this movie, because Johnny is a director that makes you feel safe and free. Allowed you to really push yourself to the limit, and but you feel that kind of love, and you feel protected, and so you're really there to give him everything. It's been like a dream become true, because of course I was like a huge fan of Johnny as an actor, and to see, for me, that to meet him and to see the person that I've met during this journey, it's like, whoa. So I've been like training myself in all those years in the good direction, in the, you know, in this kind of attitude where you basically, you really want to deal with creation, and you don't care about what the result it will be. So there is nothing to show why you're making a movie, you know? There is no space for red carpets, pictures and clothes and all those things that, I'm not judging anything, but, you know, is a real sharing of intimate things. And this has been, for me, wonderful. And also to work with all my other friends, and of course with Al and everyone, the producers. So thank you all of you. Grazie.
And I think what the beauty of this was that Johnny allowed us the freedom of collaborating, and for us actors to have a voice as artists too, which is not often the case. And he sort of encouraged us to sort of bring in our little ingredients to add to the soup. And then he created a sort of very safe playground for us to just be free, to experience, to feel, to fail, to laugh, to try things that may not work. And, you know, sometimes we did one scene a day, which I think is a very rare thing to do when you're on a movie set. So we had an extreme amount of time to sort of play around, and he trusted us and we trusted him, and that was so beautiful.
I was very, very lucky. I am very lucky, even. Singular experience for me. Very singular, very organic, which does happen, of course, in cinema, but this was a very organic process is the process, but this was a very organic sort of grouping, and things just happened without any, no one needed to goad anyone into anything. Things just happened, and these very talented people ran with it, you know. So again, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world to have been able to just simply capture behavior and reactions and life to its minutiae through their eyes. I feel very lucky. Ryan?
I think everybody said what I was going to say already. No, for me, a kid who grew up in Ireland and dropped out of school and started working in the theatre, this experience for me has been one of the most fulfilling and rewarding experiences I may ever have as an actor, and it's down to everyone's talent and hard work throughout the whole film and production, but working with Johnny is beyond my wildest dreams. Also to be in a film with Al Pacino, and you know, Johnny created such a space for us to explore, to experiment, to feel, to find the new, to capture these accidents that would happen from purely only being in the moment. And for me, I got advice from a French actor, Vincent Cassel, about 10 years ago, shooting in Italy, and he stopped me mid-scene. Maybe he doesn't remember, but he said to me that you should take a risk here in this moment. And he was right. I'd sort of shied away from it for fear or whatever. And I said to myself, from this moment on, I will continue to take risks. And this is one thing that dear Johnny encouraged us to do, which was to take risks with the work, to take risks with the performance, and to be free. And that for me will live with me for the rest of my life. And to that end, thank you.
Yes. Maybe Bruno and Luisa also
Bruno.
want to-
Yes, so with my broken English, what can I say more? Maybe I can say to you that one of the most important things for me as an actor is that Johnny gives you the feeling that you are at the same level. That confidence gives you so many opportunities to show your fantasy, because he makes you feel comfortable. And there is a sentence of an Italian actor named Eduardo. Eduardo was saying, if you are looking for the style, you find the death. But if you are looking for the life, you will find the style. And with Johnny, we are looking for life. We are looking for the truth. And for me, it was so precious. And so, merci, Johnny.
So now for me it's very difficult, you know. I speak in Italian because it's better for me. Sono molto emozionata di essere qui perché quando Johnny mi ha offerto questo ruolo pensavo fosse uno scherzo e quando l'ho incontrato insomma sono stata felicissima di essere a bordo di questo bellissimo progetto, la sceneggiatura era bellissima, felice di condividere questo progetto con questi attori incredibili, con questo regista bravissimo che ci ha sempre teso una mano in scena e questo è impagabile perché ti mette sempre nella posizione di fare meglio, dare il meglio di te. E ci tenevo a dire che ho incontrato anche una cosa che non mi aspettavo, non so perché non me l'aspettavo, ma è una cosa che mi ha sorpreso. Ho trovato gentilezza e ho trovato tanta umanità. E volevo anche dire che Riccardo, noi ci conosciamo da molto tempo, ma non abbiamo mai avuto modo di lavorare insieme in Italia, ma sono stata felice di essere un po' testimone di quanto è bravo e quanto talento e passione ha messo in questo ruolo. E, insomma, good luck. Grazie Johnny.
Hi. Well, first of all, congratulations for such a lovely film. I want to ask to Mr. DEPP, it's been 27 years and you directed Brave, and during this period of time, during this phase, you have collaborated with a lot of directors as an actor. So I wanted to know how this experience has shaped you as a director. Thank you.
It's allowed me to be able to really see and experience, that sort of to basically be a giant toddler as I am, and to understand that, in order to, I don't don't know, make a film, it should be, when you're making a film, at the very least, it's got to be fun. So, as I said before, like when I was doing The Brave 27 years ago, man, when I finished that film, the last thing that I wanted to do was ever attempt to direct a film again. Too much math, man. Like, just the mathematics, just, this has to coincide and correlate with that and this and that. And then you find yourself in some structure hole, you know, like, and I don't want to be in, I don't know. With The Brave, I don't know what I did. I don't know what the structure is because I don't approach it that way. With this, for me, it's like, ultimately, it really, it's like music, you know. Again, like the melody or the chords are going to dictate what you put on as the next layer in terms of like recording music. So the same thing with this film. It was kind of an opportunity to go, okay, I don't have to do shit except sit here and watch these actors live and behave and just react simply and live. So yeah, I found it much easier. So yeah, I had a much better, I would say an infinitely more positive experience on this. This every day was a gas because I got to learn from these guys, you know. They bring things in and it was like, oh my God, which would change that would even change, you know, sometimes the direction of the, you know, the next sequence or two. You know. But I'll never do it again. Never again. No, I might. Sorry, I apologize, I might. I'm sorry.
Lamentablemente tenemos que terminar porque el equipo tiene una agenda muy apretada hoy. Entonces, ya sé que nos gustaría muchísimo estar más tiempo con ellos, pero el festival tiene un ritmo bastante frenético. Solo desearles muchísima suerte con la película. Estamos encantados de que hayan venido a San Sebastián y
Gracias.
nos vemos pronto. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.